Is Lillian there? And Sarah?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you all so much for joining. We have the pleasure today to get trained on Hepasil, one of our great optimizers by Russ Barton. And Russ Barton is here to just inform us and to share with us why Hepasil is so great. Russ is our senior nutrition scientist, but most of you probably know him as the guy who is the ask the questions, the go-to man, the knowledge of all of our health and science education department. He is just a vast, I want to say information vault. I mean, what he has to offer is wonderful. So I want to turn the time over to him, and he has a presentation he's going to go through for Hepasil. So thank you, Russ, for joining.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I really am excited to talk about this product. It's probably my favorite product. However, besides the Cell Essentials, but you know, discussing Hepasil in 15 minutes is kind of like, to me, like trying to describe a sunset. So I'll do my best to hopefully bring out some things that maybe you haven't heard of before and give it a little bit different spin. So we'll get started right away then. So we're talking about liver health. Why should we support the liver? What does the liver do? You know, the liver is the largest internal organ, and it regulates energy, blood glucose levels, metabolizes nutrients. You know, most of us think of the pancreas and insulin with regulating blood glucose levels and energy, but the liver plays a really big role there. The liver is sensitive to insulin. So when you eat a meal, all the carbohydrates and the blood and the glucose goes circulating into your bloodstream. If it's high, then insulin goes up. Your liver senses that and says, all right, take the glucose in and let's store it. So it's storing carbohydrates for future energy use. If insulin is low because your blood glucose drops, then the liver says, hey, we need to make some more glucose and break down the stored glucose for energy. There's a lot of other nutrients, all the fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Most of the metabolism of those macronutrients take place in the liver. Liver also is important for the digestion of fat. Liver is what produces bile. Most of you know of the gallbladder storing bile, and that's just a storage organ. The liver is what actually makes it and helps break down fat. And so it supports healthy blood cholesterol and lipid metabolism as well. The liver is just super busy. The last thing I saw on how many functions it has was around 500 different functions. Today, we're going to focus on these first two that I mentioned as far as energy and digestion, but one that most people are familiar with, at least in associating with the liver, is its role in detoxification. Detoxification is a pretty complex topic. So I want to give you an example of how the liver detoxifies a compound, and we'll use the example of alcohol because that's just the simple one and everyone kind of can relate to alcohol in the liver. When you drink alcohol, it gets into your bloodstream, travels through the bloodstream, and gets to the liver. There's an enzyme right at the beginning that breaks the alcohol down into a compound known as acetaldehyde. That's known as phase 1 detoxification. It makes it into this other compound, which then has to be converted to something safer because that acetaldehyde is actually more toxic than alcohol itself. So then in phase 2, enzymes convert that acetaldehyde to acetate, which is basically vinegar, and then carbon dioxide and water that the liver can easily excrete. So it goes through two different phases, and what's interesting is if you drink too fast, too much too fast, things get stopped up in the first phase and you end up with high blood alcohol content. If you don't, if your conversion on the phase 2 end is really slow, you end up with too much of the toxic acetaldehyde, and that's where you get the headaches and the hangovers and the nausea and the vomiting. So what we want to do is make sure that those phases are running properly. The smoother those detoxification processes work, the faster you can make things harmless and excrete them. And that's where a lot of nutrients come in. You need a lot of vitamins, minerals, and most importantly, a compound known as glutathione, which is an antioxidant that the body makes and that your body can make from nutrients that you get in your diet. So the goal is make sure you have the right nutrients so that those different phases of detoxification work properly. I kind of look at it like phase 1 is like getting on the freeway. The on-ramp is phase 1. If too many cars come too fast, it gets backed up into the street. Phase 2 is kind of like the freeway itself, and if it's all clogged up and slow, then it seems to be, you know, it's a lot more toxic. At least it is for me mentally. I don't know how most people handle it, but anyway, that's one way to just kind of look at phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. And the same thing basically applies to fatty diets, medications, pollutions, organic contaminants, all those different types of things create oxidative stress on these cell detoxification pathways. And this is a very oversimplified diagram here, but basically what it's just saying is when a toxin, alcohol, pollutant or whatever, anything that's toxic comes in, it starts a cascade of events and cell signaling, we call it cell signaling, that goes down a pathway that eventually goes into the nucleus of the cell, and that tells the cell to make glutathione and other antioxidants like SOD, superoxide dismutase. Some of you may have heard of that. So yeah, the liver is sensitive to toxins or stress and produces things to try and take care of that. So what if you wanted to keep that pathway going, but you didn't want to expose your liver to too much stress or to any toxins? Well, what we've found out in a few recent years is that there are nutrients, phytonutrients, plant compounds that mimic these toxins and can actually start this cell signaling cascade and prompt the body to make more glutathione and other protective compounds. So wouldn't it be nice if there was a product that could pull that off and support these processes? And of course, that's what we're talking about today in the Hepasil DTX. You'll see a big list of ingredients here. One thing that really sets this product apart is how complete it is. We talk about it as far as a detoxification product, but we'll go over in a minute. You'll see that it's a lot more than what, you know, it's a lot more than that. And just in case I forget, if you go to askthescientists.com, you can pull up articles on Hepasil and pull up this label and everything you want to know on this product. What I want to emphasize, there's 3 to 4 main functions of this product. Number 1 is to provide precursors to important compounds that are protective, like glutathione. It contains nutrients that help with the metabolism, like we were talking about with sorry, I just got distracted. With the fat and protein and carbohydrate and blood glucose things. And also it contains some cell signaling and antioxidant compounds. So let's go over a few of these. the first really important ingredient in this product is called N-acetyl-L-cysteine, and you can just call it NAC. And basically what that is a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is what's known as a tripeptide. It's 3 amino acids hooked together. But when you eat that orally, your stomach just breaks apart the amino acids. So you can't just take high doses of glutathione orally and improve your glutathione levels. So this amino acid, cysteine, is very effective at providing the often missing building block to glutathione production. So taking high levels of NAC can help bump up those glutathione levels. In fact, it's good enough in this is one nutrient that's actually used medically in Tylenol poisoning and certain mushroom poisonings. NAC is used to help detoxify the liver. Then we have compounds that help with lipid and glucose metabolism, like biotin, which is vitamin B7. You might be familiar with biotin relating to skin health or hair health, but it's really involved in a lot of those pathways, those energy pathways. And then there's choline in this product as well. And choline is really important in the process of making phosphatidylcholine, which is part of cell membranes. It also is converted in the liver to help reduce fat and eliminate fat. There's some pretty good research showing that people that are really low in choline have a much higher risk of fatty liver. And so choline is really important in kind of maintaining the fat health and processes in the liver. It also is a very good methyl donor for any of you who have heard the term methyl donors. It's in a new field of epigenetics, which basically means that choline can help a process that helps turn genes on and off. And again, that's kind of technical, but there's some real good reasons to have this in the product. Milk thistle is also a protective ingredient. A lot of you probably heard of milk thistle. It basically can upregulate these phase 2 enzymes for detoxification, but it also is kind of known to help protect liver cells from oxidation that happens during detoxification. Sometimes these processes get a little messy, and milk thistle can help protect the actual cellular health of the liver. Then we get to compounds that act as antioxidants and cell signaling ingredients. Alpha lipoic acid is kind of a cool one because it's both fat and water soluble. And so it can help protect the cell from the inside and the outside. Another one of its big bonuses is that it prolongs and regenerates the activity of other antioxidants like vitamin C and CoQ10 and glutathione. In fact, if any of you are familiar with our product, coenzyme Q10 product, coquinone, that's one of the reasons alpha lipoic acid is included in that formula, is because it prolongs and helps coenzyme Q10 itself. Green tea extract is another important ingredient. And, most of us are familiar with the use of green tea to increase our alertness and mental capacity. But there's some compounds, flavonoid compounds in green tea that also stimulate these phase 2 enzymes and the activity of the liver. So it, again, is doing more than one thing. It's providing antioxidant protection, but also stimulating the production of more antioxidants. Broccoli concentrate, which I'll mention, contains a compound named sulforaphane. I won't get into that, it's too complex, but again, this is another phytonutrient or plant compound that can help stimulate these natural detox processes. And then we have something unique in the product called olive oil. This is There's some compounds called hydroxytyrosol that are in the water soluble part of the fruit. So this is coming from the fruit, not the leaves or any of the, or olive oil. It's from the water soluble part. USANA itself got a patent for the process to extract these compounds from the olive fruit. And again, it's just a unique compound that we use, that very few other companies or products use, that has some good basic antioxidant benefits to help protect cells. And then turmeric, most everybody's aware of turmeric either as a spice or just as a really common popular herb that's used for a lot of different purposes. Most of you may have heard of it as curcumin or turmeric extract, but these compounds like curcumin, they do influence NRF2, NRF2 proteins and things that stimulate these detoxification pathways. But at the same time, it's also well known in providing a really good antioxidant activity and also helping overall joint health. It has some anti-inflammatory characteristics, so it's often used in joint products and so on. The thing I would point out here too is that turmeric is not generally very well absorbed. So we use a particular form known as Meriva bioavailable curcumin, and it's significantly more bioavailable than a standard extract. So we can use a lot less of the ingredient and still have the same benefit. That also cuts down on any potential side effects. So in a nutshell, this product is all about providing nutrition for liver support. It's not just a detoxification product. You know, it does have nutrients that help in other functions as well. Now, aside from the nutritional aspects of it, it does have a few unique characteristics. If you ever look at the tablet, you'll notice that the tablet is divided into two halves. You have two distinct layers. And part of the reason for doing that is we found that the ingredient NAC and the ingredient alpha lipoic acid do not play well together. And if you put them together in the same tablet, stability suffers and you end up losing some potency over time. The only reason we know that is because USANA does so much research and we're so on top of our own products that we realized this several years ago. You'll notice if you use the Cellsentials that the mineral product actually has NAC in it now. That used to be in the Vita antioxidant. So we've separated them into different products. So again, this product is unique in that half the alpha lipoic acid is on one side and the other ingredients with NAC are on the other side. And that ensures that the product stays stable and potent clear until our guaranteed expiration date. Another thing about this product that is really, from a scientific standpoint, awesome for me, is that we've done some really cool studies with it. And if you go to askthescientist.com and look on, and you can actually search liver detoxification pathways, or even if you just look up Hepasil, it'll come up in the search. Not only will it talk about all these different pathways, but it'll go over some research that we did, and it outlines it very nicely with some bullet points and explains what happened. But basically, we found that people taking the Hepasil did have a significant increase in glutathione levels and vitamin C levels. Now, that was a little perplexing because there's no vitamin C in the product. We kind of expected the glutathione to go up because of the NAC ingredient, but we were a little shocked with the vitamin C. And after looking at some literature, we found one other paper that had mentioned this. And just as a matter of interest, this is kind of what piqued our interest in our intelligence technology and all this cell signaling. Because we already had all these, before we had come up with the concept of cell signaling and intelligence complex, we already had these ingredients in the Hepasil, and it was performing that way, and we didn't even really understand it at the time. So I would encourage you to go look up this study and look up the page on Ask the Scientist, because it really does, it's fairly compelling. It increased glutathione levels like 74%. So again, to kind of wrap up, you want, well, at least with this product, what it's intended to do is keep those raw materials, keep those nutrients available for your liver, because when your liver's detoxifying, like detoxifying alcohol, going back to that example, glutathione gets used up. And so if the body can't keep up making it fast enough, or you're not getting it from nutrients in the diet, that's where you end up with liver health problems, because those toxic compounds stay in the liver much too long. I'll finish here with just some, the fact that USANA, as a company, there's a big difference. The quality of our products, we manufacture at a FDA registered facility, and we have a lot of third-party substantiation, and we have 28 years of experience making our own products. So we really have a handle on all the nuances and everything there is to know about them. So as a final wrap up, if somebody was to say, what is the Hepasil? I would say the Hepasil is a product designed to provide essential nutrients and phytochemicals to support our own natural detoxification pathways. So hopefully hopefully somebody learned something new. I appreciate the time. I don't know how long I went.
No, you're good. Thank you so much. I think a lot of the things you said and a lot of terminology people use and it rolls off their tongue, but they don't really understand what it is or why it is, and so now I feel like they have some speaking points. So thank you so much for that. And I appreciate your time, and hopefully everyone can be talking more about Hepasil and the benefits it has. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
All right, thank you.